obviously it was just the feeling of, I wouldn't say panic, but the rushed feeling to get everything that you essentially need to get by for the next few days or weeks, I guess. We don't know how long, but essentially we just got to stay. We grabbed what we could, which was essentially our loved ones. My parents were in the vehicle behind me, and our kids. My wife is thankfully able to grab that one, and I took the pets in my truck.
Residents fleeing the blazes have had to drive near billowing smoke. The sky, orange and apocalyptic near Yellowknife, making it hard to drive. It's a journey. People are rushing south to Alberta cities like High Level, Edmonton, and Red Deer. Many have had to drive for 12 hours at least. Some drive through the night.
We made the decision to leave last night and got going really quickly. We had our camping gear with us. We knew we'd need to stop along the way. It's a very long drive that everyone leaving Yellowknife is facing, not one that we normally do in one day. So it has been going okay. The roads were better than we expected. There was still some fire visible from the roads around Yellowknife and around Enterprise, but other than extreme smoke, it seemed safe. There were pilot cars, and we're just really grateful and happy to be out.
Lines at gas stations along the route stretch for hours, and many people don't have much with them.
We had some go bags ready with a couple days worth of clothes and some basic toiletries. Everything else we grabbed was like sentimental items, a quilt that my mom made for us for our wedding, a blanket that my husband's Oma made for him, a lot of blankets, but those were the things we knew we couldn't replace.
Fires destroyed 90% of Enterprise, a hamlet in Northwest Territories that evacuated earlier this week. It's something Yellowknife residents fear. No one knows when they'll get to go home and what will be left. Cell service is spotty. That means people go hours without access to their phones or social media. And they say it's impossible to contact family and friends who are still on the road, or worse, still back home.
I have a lot of friends who are there with the efforts that have stuck around to make sure that they have the resources and the bodies they need to battle the blaze.
Welcome to the program, award-winning writer Jim Earl and the impressionist Martha Previte. Hi guys, how are you?
Hi. Great. Thanks. How are you today?
So honor to be here.
Well, Great White North of 48, I would say, Jim.
America's hat.
If you turn it upside down, what it would be? That's right.
Like America's dunce cap, right?
That's right.
Canadians.
Yay. I want to talk about fire, if you guys don't mind. Hawaii. Just a terrible devastation in Hawaii. And as you just seen from Yellowknife, there's 20,000 people going on a 14-hour drive out of the Northwest Territories to get to safety. There's quite a few, are they fire refugees or here in town now? I'm up in Edmonton. And unfortunately, Kelowna right now is on high alert. There's 4,500 homes that are in a state of emergency right now. Anyways, I want to break your head just a bit. Climate warning. Forest fires, CO2 is going up in the atmosphere. Another 3.5 degrees, and apparently we'd have reached the height of temperature in the world 600,000 years ago, which is quite the accomplishment. 600,000 years ago, the Arctic had flora, fauna, and mastodons. Not moose, mastodons. Right. So my question to you is, should we push it? Should we get up to that and have a nice environment for everybody? Or should we maybe be a little conscientious of what's happening in the world right now?
What are the two things that you can do as the average person that can have an immediate impact?
I recycle.
Well, besides that,
I bring my cans in for deposit.
Let's keep it clean, okay? We don't have to go into that sexual innuendo. All right.
Okay.
I just asked a simple question, Walter.
It
May I call you Walter?
Yes. Yes, you may.
Okay, Wally, I asked you a simple question, and it was, what are the two things that the average person can do that would have an immediate impact on helping to mitigate a climate catastrophe?
Does it involve puppets?
Okay, three things. What are the three things you can do? First is puppetry.
Puppetry.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go with that.
The second
Is
is like California is about to do in 2024, ban small gasoline engines like leaf blowers and lawnmowers.
ban them.
Ban them.
So you're going to have to get the roll 'em lawnmowers to
No,
cut
no,
the
no.
grass, or you're just not going to have grass. Is that
they're going to help subsidize landscapers with electric alternatives.
lawnmowers? Wow.
Yes, and
Well, it is a
blowers.
thing up here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the third is
You burn the grass?
No, you burn the clean coal to power the power plant to make electricity to charge your battery for the lawnmower.
Okay.
that's kind of a fallacy there. That's a red herring.
A red herring.
Yeah. I mean, you're making it sound like the gasoline engine is not as efficient as an electric engine. And to power an electrical engine it takes much less coal burning. And there's also solar charging that everybody can do.
What about nuclear? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not in favor of something that has dangerous waste.
Okay.
I think we learned enough with 3 Mile Island and the like.
Right.
I mean, if it was a way to handle that where we didn't have nuclear waste, that would help.
It would help.
And the third thing is
what is number 3?
The third thing is stop eating so much fucking meat. Just adjust your diet, you fucking pigs. Stop torturing animals. Stop killing yourselves with meat. And you will have an immediate impact on farmland around you, on forests, on the air, on your body.
Eat leaves.
Well,
Eat leaves.
You will never win a hot dog eating contest with that attitude, Jim.
Oh. I said to keep it clean. Are we going in that direction again? I don't understand this.
Right. Okay. So you think, and a lot of people think, I just want to clarify this, that if people become vegetarians, that would help with the CO2 and the methane production in this world, right?
Yes, that's about a quarter to 1/3 of the total gas emissions.
Okay. Now,
at least in the production of agriculture,
right.
it's a huge impact in agriculture.
Well,
most of agriculture is used to grow meat.
Well, being from Alberta, we like our grain-fed beef. However, what has happened is all these cows go into these meat packing plants. They're fed grain, which they don't normally eat. They only eat a small amount. And they get diseases. And these diseases are in the meat as it's processed, because the E. coli and stuff, which was very rare back in the day. And then that hamburger you could be eating could be 100 different cows.
Yes, meat glue.
Yeah, meat glue or slime, pink slime. So
And,
so what? Sorry, are you saying we should go out and shoot all our cows, leave them to rot, or can we use them?
I'm saying that we should stop eating so much meat.
We should let our cows go out into the wild like they belong.
Well, you've already created a problem.
Yes.
And you want to perpetuate a problem by making an excuse for perpetuating the problem.
Good
you have
point.
too many cows because we have a horrible meat-based diet.
Yes.
In this country.
I agree.
And I'm sorry, you probably will have to kill a lot of the cows, and that's it.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't know this nowadays, but like the size of a chicken is way bigger than it was back in the 60s.
Oh, I know that. Yes.
Yeah, and they got 3-breasted chickens now apparently, and that can't walk or can't glide, and they're just made for the meat packing industry. But I think the chicken too is fed with saline or water to make it weigh more at time of packing. So we're paying more for a meat that's not as good as it was in the 60s, I guess.
Filling them with antibiotics, chemicals,
Right.
and creating chickens that can't walk. And but not only that, we're just torturing animals. I mean, we have a horrible animal holocaust in this country. You could drive up and down the Central Valley of California, and it's literally one freaking animal concentration camp horror after another. And you can
Right.
smell it. There's a whole ozone layer over a hole in the ozone layer over each one of them. I think everybody who eats meat should be forced to go on a tour of one of these places.
Right. Well, for my own families, and we have a farm and stuff, but our meat eating consumption has gone way down, and that's due to health concerns plus the way you feel about not eating animals. But it's still a fact of life up here. Anyways, so
it's moral reasons, ethical reasons, environmental reasons.
Right.
Fair
enough.
Health reasons.
So this picture on my left here, that's actually Kelowna. That's the Okanagan Lake, and this is a recent picture. Yesterday, I believe, and West Kelowna is on fire, and there's approximately 150,000 people there.
Wow.
Right, and this one's Maui. And the devastation on that island. And there are some conspiracy theories, Jim and Martha.
I can't believe that.
Mhm.
There are about how it started. And,
Was it the jab?
well, they're talking. Well, okay, that's another issue that maybe we could get into yet.
Okay.
But let me show you.
Hey, and I wanted to share some local updates. Shocking, or maybe not. Did you hear about the fires? Did you hear that the government of Hawaii states their goal is to rebuild and make the entire island of Maui the first smart island? They want the entire island governed by AI, as outlined in the Hawaii Digital Government Summit of 2023, that they plan to host next month on September 25th, 2023 on Maui. Wow. Now they're going to come to the rescue for this horrible problem. And last January in 2023, there was a smart city conference in Maui to turn Maui again into the smart city island, pushing everything electric, making 15-minute smart cities. And there was also a contract last year to build a high-rise condo complex and businesses in Lahaina, which is a historic town that couldn't have any new development in this area. But now it's demolished. So now I guess they have to rebuild, right? We spent the morning trying to find places to volunteer to help. We feel helpless. There's so much going on. There's people who need assistance. We went to the War Memorial Shelter, which we learned has been taken over by FEMA. They've taken a whole bunch of supplies. People do not know where they're going. They don't trust that they're actually going to be delivered to people in need. In past FEMA situations, after disasters, they found containers full of supplies that were never given to the people. And if you go to the War Memorial, people are being told to go there if you need assistance. They are turning everyone away, saying that it's not a distribution center.
Space lasers. Buddy, what do you think? You think that did it?
Was she saying that? Space lasers?
Well, I'm not going to say she said it, but she said it's something odd going on here.
I just didn't like her speaking style. Too many. Well, I didn't even hear anything. I just turned off right there with that.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Well, let's John Hayes has a question. I think it's on what we were talking about prior. John?
It's not a question. It's a almost total agreement with the stop eating meat, basically, and dairy products. But everybody who's in here probably knows that. They heard it from me too many times, but not enough times at the same time, because I don't know if hardly anybody here has actually changed their diet. I find it very frustrating to constantly go on about this and get the same excuses. Some people have valid excuses. Roughly, I'd say 97% of meat is through factory farming, which is horrific, as we know. But somehow, 97% of the people I talk to about this seem to be those 3%ers that get humane, meat and dairy products, which I find mathematically impossible. Or they have other excuses, or they'll use a justification of other people who live in a food desert, which is a problem. I absolutely agree with that. But a lot of people are saying, well, what about people who live in countries where they can't do this, or they have no other options? That's them. That's a separate thing, but that's not your reason. That's not your excuse.
What about free range cows? If you only eat those?
Well, that's what you're just saying. What I was just saying, basically. It seems like most of the people who come back at me are saying that they're the ones who have the humane stuff, and a lot of that humane stuff is just bullshit, so to speak. Perfectly, it's less hellish. It's not great. There are some that truly are relatively decent, the lifespan of their animals, but they do end up slaughtering them nonetheless. That's the case. But most of them are tortured basically for their whole short lifetimes in CAFOs, concentrated feed.
I'm going to agree with that very much.
Yes.
Can't argue. Yeah.
I just don't, I don't think women should be allowed to play miniature golf because, first of all, they don't take it seriously. Secondly, they always laugh when you hit the clown's mouth and it doesn't go into the hole.
Okay, so this is a critique on Martha laughing at you playing golf, Jim. I don't think this is the same thing. Right? You're a bad mini golfer.
I haven't had the courage to invite Martha out for some miniature golf, but I would, just to prove my point.
I'm gonna break your head here, I think, with this next one.
Trick us that this is real snow. You'll see it's not melting.
What the hell?
And it's going to burn. Snow don't burn. Snow fucking melts. No water, no dripping, no nothing. If I put this shit in the microwave, it's going to start sparking because there's
language
in it. So you see that?
No way.
No melting.
It got harder. Try it again.
It's not melting.
It's not water.
It's just burning.
Put it closer. What the hell?
There's more.
Okay. Doing another one because people said that they
Fresh ice
check it
for
out.
fresh snow for all the haters.
Oh man. Okay, here we go. Ah, the flame. Come on, flame. Snowball. Not melting. And turning black. Didn't melt. Come on, flame. There's a flame. Come on. Not melting. And turning black. It's not melting. See?
Is that why you have so many fires up in Canada?
Yeah, our flammable snow. That's right. That's very right. So what she's describing is burning snow to prove it's fake. And it's not apparently where they're trying to light snowballs on fire because they think the snow is fake. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a scientific process called sublimation.
That's not snow. That's crack cocaine.
Can they afford that much crack cocaine?
If it's Canada, it's crack cocaine. Take my word for it.
Well, I hate to say it, but this is southern state snow. This is the snow in the southern US.
You mean they're importing it?
They're trying to make sure that Bill Gates gets the blame for this. He thinks it's they call it fake snow, and it's been seeded by the environmentalist Bill Gates. What happens is the snowballs don't appear to melt. They burn. No water, no dripping, no nothing. And they believe there's metal inside the snow, and that Gates is somehow to blame. And apparently it's just that it turns into water vapor. So it hasn't had time to drip, to melt. It just turns
Can
into
you put it in your vape pipe?
You probably could smoke a snowball. Vape a snowball today.
And the darkness on it is just soot from the flame.
Right. Yes, that's it. You know, well, at least in southern US snow, right? So I don't know what kind of snow you guys got in Maine, but
we have the best snow on earth.
I want to see you in the wintertime try to burn a snowball. See what happens.
Okay.
There. Okay.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. But conspiracy theories. So you have another one here. Your former president, is he 45? Has been indicted, and he's trying to push the jury trial or the trial out to 2026 after the election. Do you think that will happen, or will he be brought to trial during the election?
I think it will happen before or during the election.
Can he run if he's on trial?
Yes. Legally?
Yeah.
It appears so.
Well, wasn't that the guy who was in bars in jail? Geez, everybody should know. Debs. Wasn't he in jail and he ran?
Yes, president? Eugene Debs. Yes, he was.
Right. Yes. And he got actually quite a percent of the vote, right? Or 10 or 12% or something like that. Yeah. And that was back in a day when people didn't have as much education as they do now.
You know, my great grandfather, who's up on the wall up there, was part of the Kansas State Socialist Fusion Party.
Okay.
Turn of the last century.
So if there was a fire at your place, like the forest fires, would you take great grandpa off the wall and bring him with you?
Yes, I would, because it's the only copy of that picture.
That's very important to know, because there's a woman in Kelowna who was taking a deer head out of her house as one of her treasured keepsakes. And it was only an 8-pointer. So, I mean, why bother?
We would take all of our koalas.
Yes.
First.
And how many do we have now, honey?
31.
31 koalas?
Yes.
Really?
How many eucalyptus trees do you have?
None.
Well, you have 0 koalas.
They eat basil, surprisingly. It's a great thing. They eat a lot of things in the garden. We have romaine lettuce, red leaf lettuce, and basil. They take a particular liking to.
Okay, so can I ask you, your garden, is it been productive this year?
Well, so far we've had a lot of rain. We don't have a tomato harvest yet because they're just ripening. They're just starting to ripen, and we've experienced a lot of blight. A lot of the leaves are falling off and drying up from all of the rain and supposedly from the lack of sunlight. And the warmer temperatures, which can also affect the ripening of the tomatoes, which has never really happened here. Usually by now I'm deep into a big pot of tomato sauce cooking, and we haven't had any tomatoes yet. So we've had to go actually to the farm store down the street. They have beautiful tomatoes. Let me see, I might have a picture. that I can show you. The ones we just got today. Let's see. I'm gonna put them up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can show visuals.
Yes.
I
Oh,
sure
look at
can.
that.
There we
Oh,
are.
Look at that. Look at the koala.
Yes.
Look at the tomatoes.
Those are the beautiful organic tomatoes that we got at a little farm stand called Frinkle Pod Farm, and they're an organic farm down the street from us in Arundel, Maine, and they grow actually beautiful organic produce, and we're lucky to have them because our tomatoes don't look like that yet. There's no comparison.
Wow.
And we do get a lot of our herbs there too, and make a lot of our pesto, and we get seedlings from them as well for our garden. We've had a lot of red and green leaf lettuce. We just started growing a new batch of romaine lettuce,
Oh, right on.
which the slugs seem to enjoy. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But the artichokes, I had artichokes 3 years ago. Those haven't started to bloom or anything yet. With all of the bugs, like the ants, the aphids, the slugs, and with all the rain, it's been a very difficult growing season. And even for the farmers down the street, they've said the same thing. A lot of their potatoes and carrots are just mush.
Yeah.
Because of all the rain.
Yeah, the potatoes will get a skin. It's not a disease. It's just part of it because they got so much water and it gets scabby. I found when you have a water season. And my cabbage this year, we had the same thing. All of a sudden we had a lot of water and my cabbage exploded. And all the slugs underneath. Oi, oi, oi.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus. I asked you to keep it clean, Walter.
Okay.
Now you're talking about slugs underneath your whatever. Hey,
And
speaking of artichokes, you hear about the guy who wanted to kill his wife, but he's real cheap. So he called up this guy who was known for killing people, but he was, he's for next to nothing. This guy named Crazy Artie. So he calls up Crazy Artie and say, "Hey, I need my wife killed. How much will it cost?" He says, "Only $1." So Artie asks, "Hey, well, give me some patterns. Where will she be tomorrow night?" And the guy says, "Well, my wife will be at the supermarket at noon." And so next day, Artie goes to the supermarket and looks for the guy's wife. Spots her and strangles her, and then he sees two witnesses see him, and so he has naturally has to strangle the other two, and he runs out of the supermarket. Next day, headlines read "Crazy Artie." No, wait a minute. next day, headlines read "Artichokes 3 for $1 at Alpha Beta." Follow that motherfucker.
Well, as you get older, you get these private things done to you, like colonoscopy. Can you help me with the name here?
Colonoscopy?
Yeah, we call that a Jim Earl up here.
And I'm honored.
You're welcome. John, you have a question? Or is that an old hand?
Oh, that's an old one. I'll lower it.
Oh, way to screw up the broadcast, John. This is being recorded for the masses, right? Both of them.
That's what editing's for.
Melania Trump is here tonight. Can she say a few words? Do you have time for this?
I have more than enough time for Melania. Do you have time for Melania? We all do. I heard she didn't want to be bothered during this litigation and the election going on. Am I mistaken?
Well, there's some truth to that. I would think. Well, why don't you ask her about it? See what she has to say, Walter.
Yeah, I thought you were going to stay out of sight and be quiet, Melania. What happened?
Hello.
Hello.
It is me. For those of you who do not know me, it is I, Melania Trump. Do
Okay.
you have question?
Jim, do you got one? Quick or
Well, I think Walter wanted to know about your husband and the indictments.
Yes, please.
Give me a fucking break already. Please stop asking about Donald Trump and his foreign indictments today. Okay? Already?
Whoa, hold on. I didn't mean to upset you, Melania. I'm sorry.
What is the big deal about getting indicted anyway? It is common practice, like in Melania's short film, Indicted, which Ted and Melania are penetrated in all three holes by this guy named Dick, which is also a clever play on word Dick, which has double meaning. Google it, okay?
Okay,
James Joyce couldn't write better complex imagery, okay?
I've never seen that video. Never have. Was that straight to DVD?
Yes. And on
DVD.
the video. It's a video.
It's a video.
Went straight to beta.
Straight to beta. VHS tape.
And enough with the erection probes and the obstructions. Tonel always have big obstruction. This is why he always has look on face like he is straining on a tub of year-old meat glue, which happens to be a lot more than you might think.
Well, what? How do you envision a third term or a second term of your husband?
Maybe I get cover of Vogue.
Okay, that could happen.
If Tonel were Pepsodent, he would have declared COVID emission accomplished long before Biden did. Biden only killed 800,000 COVIDs in 3 years. Pepsodent Donald could have doubled that, given a chance, but poor Tonel have big obstruction. But who really cares about all these indictments, right? Melania is living her own life now with her own bank account, own wing of Melania compound, a brand new Capital One escape the law bonus cash check back travel card. For every dollar I spend running from the law, I get 1% back on my next Brazilian booty lift. It's a winning.
Brazilian what lift? What?
Brazilian booty lift. Give me a fucking break already. You never heard?
No, I never heard of a booty. Oh, Brazilian. Okay.
It's a winning. You see one indictment, you see them all. I stopped counting after 3. It is not Melania's problem because Melania not involved. Melania did nothing but witness unspeakable eating habits, overhear countless conspiracies, and sign legal papers transferring courants into offshore bank accounts. Totally normals. I want nothing to do anything with it. Tonel is in New Jersey hitting balls with stick while Melania likes to spend summer in Manhattan penthouse watching people on street burst into flames. That said, I am obligated to say Tonel can lead us towards greatness and prosperity once again. Oh, and my son is not serial killer. Oops, did I just say that? I do not care, do you? Give me a fucking break already. Click on the link below and buy my Best boxes manufactured in Uruguay and by genuine orphans. Bye-bye and suck it, America and Canada.
Manufactured where?
Uruguay.
Why do you have your Best boxes manufactured in Uruguay?
Because the children's makes them.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Cheaper,
genuine
cheaper.
orphans. They are cheaper. Yes, of course. The child labors.
What are in the Be Best boxes, by the way?
All of the be best things you can imagine.
Like potatoes, maybe?
Yes, yes. If the be best potatoes, the be best toenail clippers, the be best kind of sealant for the face when you need a little lift. Be best.
Sounds like a survival box. If you're leaving home, have a Be Best box.
Yes.
You've been pumping tire sealant into your buttocks for the Brazilian butt lift. I read that's what they use. They use just cement and tire sealant. I was just wondering if that's the route you go.
That is the plan.
Well, that doesn't sound very safe.
Who
Excuse
gives
me?
a who do you think who I really don't care, do you?
Are you all right? Did you sit on a tack? What's happening? What's happening where you are?
Do you need the sealant?
Give me a fucking break already, okay? I'm over and Seacrest out.
Oh, that was abrupt. I guess she doesn't want to talk anymore. It's understandable, being a very busy ex-first lady.
Thank you very much.
First lady right there. Hurricane Hillary. She is going to California. Ex-first lady. Give me a fucking break already. I am former first lady, not nude model.
And Hillary was never a nude model.
Right.
No, she was not prostituted either, like Kamala Halalala Ding Dong Harris. Shambalaya.
I was going to ask if you ever get back home.
No, I do not make it back home.
I bet Slovenia. Is it Slovenia? Is your home country?
Yeah, Slovenia.
So isn't your mom there?
No, my parents, I believe they live here in the United Kingdom of Tandy Corporation.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you. And remember, don't get sick. It is waste of time.
Thank you very much for that tip.
Thank you, everybody.
Future First Lady of the United States again.
Right.
Melania Trump.
Thank you.
So if he won, would he be 47 or would he still be 45? He would be 45 and 47, right?
I guess that's how they count them.
Thank you.
Rodrigo has a question. Is he going to derail the conversation once more? I mean, you get a flow going and then here in comes Rodrigo. Hi, Rodrigo. Go ahead. What's your question?
I wanted Jim Earl's opinion on this article I posted about Ethiopia, where the aid stopped because there was a corruption scandal and at least 1,400 people have now died of starvation since the aid stopped. But also there's some good news because Lula announced a $300 billion investment for transitioning Brazil's economy to a green economy. Thank you.
I think, Rodrigo, you should go towards the end of the show from now on. Just saying.
Well, I agree with the latter. I think that's a good thing. The former, I'm not familiar with. I'm not in favor of what's happening in Ethiopia. I think that's a bad thing. I don't want to stick my neck out here, but I think mass starvation, I am not for that. Unless it's for parts of the United States, like Beverly Hills. Maybe the Upper East Side of Manhattan.
Just to clear it up for the audience, Rodrigo's talking about Ethiopia's Tigray crisis, deaths from starvation after aid was halted. 1,400 have died since a food corruption scam was uncovered in April. So it's a very good point. Thank you for bringing that up. So changing track here, can I get you probably heard this song and everything. Can I get your impression on this song? There's a chorus in here, and I'll cut it down for the podcast, but there's a chorus in here that might be problematic. Do you got a minute to listen to it, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. I always value your guys' opinion.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men, north of Richmond. I wish politicians would look out for miners, and not just miners on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
Is that it?
He got a lot of controversy over using the welfare line on it, and when I listen to it, I don't listen to it the same way as some people who are putting them down, because he says at the end of his chorus that it's the government putting everybody down. I quite like the song. I like the tune.
Well,
you'd have to listen to it a couple of times.
I've seen the lyrics, and he's blaming Yankees for his problem.
People north of Richmond, which would be Washington, right? North of Richmond.
Yeah.
He should have blamed Mansion, north of Mansion.
And he's blaming fat people on welfare. That's what he thinks welfare is.
Is he in the? So you went through the lyrics, and that's your impression then?
Yeah. Also, I just can't get past the fact that
he's a little heavy.
Well, no, his face looks like a Lucille Ball's pussy when she was 85, and I can't get over that.
Do you got pictures? Do you got pictures, photos?
That's that kind of question you'd ask a guy.
Is it on the wall? Would it be one of the things that you would take if the place was burning?
All I can think of is Lucille Ball's Asian hoo-ha, and I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right.
You're ginger hating here.
I'm, to each his own.
Right.
I'm just, that's the way I am.
No, that's fair. I'm trying to wrap my head around it, because I think the tune is great. I think the words like working all day for bullshit pay. I really like some of the words on there. If he is denigrating people on welfare, then that's a line he shouldn't have had in there. I wasn't so sure he was doing it just listening to it and not looking at the lyrics. So
I think the lyrics are pretty cliche, and I think it's a cliche musically too.
But that's what music is. It's a cliche that you say over and over again, right?
There's a lot of fecal matter in that beard.
Another good point. That's another good point.
I'm very concerned about his health and welfare with the amount of fecal matter that is enclosed in his facial hair.
Well,
That happens.
He bought a 20-acre farmland, and he's trying to make money to populate it with animals, I guess.
To eat them?
Maybe. I don't know him personally.
He looks like he could eat some bacon on occasion,
Okay.
on more than one occasion.
So it's not a song that would be able to bring working people right and left together then, because of the welfare comment, maybe.
It doesn't appeal to me because I think I don't know what exactly he's trying to get at. He makes some welfare comments, I believe, and then he makes kind of digs at Northerners. That's my perception.
Okay.
And
Yankees.
Well, sweet Virginia, right? So
yeah, and his red face just turns me on. Jesus Christ, what is he? He's look like he's on the toilet trying to pass a Big Mac or something.
Well, when you listen to Celine,
It's
Celine
Tabasco, like
Celine-
Tabasco sauce.
when you listen to Celine Dion, you don't look at her, do you? You just listen.
I don't listen to Celine Dion.
Hey, Queen of Canada, Queen of Canada, right there.
Hey, you people put Ukrainians in internment camps and labor camps.
No, they were Doukhobors, and there was the camp over at Kamloops, and they were Doukhobors.
You put 70,000 Ukrainians in forced labor camps, stole their money.
You people
could put them in there for 6 years at least, ruin their lives.
I would say it would ruin their lives. Yes, it'd be not something a country should be proud of. That or with the indigenous schools.
Sometime we'll have to play one of Jim's songs.
It's a catchy tune. It's a catchy tune. I can guarantee you that.
Fun for the whole family.
Not the greasy grass song, but the world is an asshole, eh?
It's an ear slug.
Okay. Can we talk about one more story, or do you got time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to meet my stockbroker in about 30 minutes, but if you make it quick.
What was the name of that song, Martha?
The world is a toilet and everyone's an asshole.
That's the name?
Yeah.
Well, the world is a toilet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
that's the whole verse then. Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll end on that if you don't mind. Do you talk about welfare, people on welfare on that song, Jim?
No.
I talk about meat eaters.
Well, I want to talk about rent right now. I'm going to have to cut these episodes up here, but
okay.
Let us talk. And I've got a story out of Vancouver.
This is a 200 square foot apartment in downtown Eastside. This is your living room. This is the price.
This was the start of a video by a real estate marketing company posted on TikTok and Instagram yesterday. But this was deleted after hundreds of comments pointed out that the tone was just a little off. Now, whether the video was genuine or intended as satire is unclear, as the company declined comment. What we do know is the apartment listing and the price was very real. This is the posting on Craigslist. This is the posting on the property management company's website. And who used to live in these units before they were renovated, you might ask? Often people who didn't have anywhere else to go. For you see, the Lotus is an SRO. Many of the units have tenants renting for under $1,000 a month. And the Toronto-based company that owns the building have been offering people living in unrenovated units $15,000 to leave.
So, and we talk with a lot of people from the buildings. They're like, yeah, no, that happens all the time. So to pay attention to that, I'm like, okay. And that's what we did. And we're still living here like chill, kind of.
Juanita and her boyfriend are two of the many residents who have received those letters. They are students moving out in 2 months on their own volition. Others likely have less options, though. It's a situation that the city is alarmed about, but because the Supreme Court struck down their attempt to install vacancy controls, they have few options.
For the time being, our hands are pretty much tied because the SRO housing bylaws that we have in place really only protect the typology of these sort of single room occupant units. They don't protect the price point.
And all of this in a context of a rental situation that, even by Vancouver standards, is getting more and more difficult for those most in need. This is a chart. The average asking price for a one-bedroom in this city is now above $3,000, making a $2,000 unit, no matter how small, a comparative steal. Meanwhile, hours after the marketer deleted her video, the property management company deleted their Craigslist posting for the apartment. They didn't respond to a request for comment as to why it was removed. Neither did the Toronto-based owners of the property. making this story almost as much of a mystery as how anyone making under six figures affords this city.
So it appears that rents are getting higher. People are you can't live in Vancouver without a six-figure income anymore. And I don't know you don't like Vancouver, Jim, because they chased you out when you were on a comedy tour.
No, Vancouver Island. That was completely different.
Oh, that was Victoria. Yeah, they're a little weird out there. A lot of British people out there. A lot of American yachts out there at Vancouver Island too. So the rentals, the people buying them and jacking up the rent. They're saying they're renovating and kicking people out, and then they're able to put the price up. In Maine, do you guys find that sort of thing? Are you guys faced with a rental crisis or housing crisis as well?
Definitely. There's a big shortage of housing, especially apartments available in Maine. And a lot of the housing here where we live in Kennebunk is well, Jim, I just lost my train of thought. It's a lot of winter rentals and people using their homes as for Airbnb purposes rather than renting them out year round. They rent them in the summertime and get like 3 times the amount of rent. And in the winter, they get their, $2,000 or $3,000 a month for a winter rental, which is only limited to, the winter months, usually October through May. So there's no year-round affordable housing units anywhere in our community and in the surrounding area, because of it's vacation land and it's the seacoast and people want to be here, and a lot of people just come up to rent in the wintertime, and people come in the summertime on vacation. So it's very difficult to find affordable housing year-round in our community, and we see people, moving from other states, buying homes up here and using it for profit rather than to provide housing for the local people that live in the town, that work in the community. There's a huge shortage of housing available and housing to purchase as well. There's a very low housing stock. There hasn't been any building in Maine, and there's certainly a huge shortage of apartments for rent for people, working people.
A lot of Maine is an old state, meaning that it's full of old white doughy people, and it's like the rest of the country. It's slowly dying culturally and economically because it refuses to attract young people, to keep young people in the state with any opportunities for success or life or good and gainful employment, and they don't let enough immigrants in to enrich the culture. And when they do, they just treat them like shit, like servants. They put them up in cheap hotels, and then when the summer months are gone and they're no longer needed at the resort hotels, off you go.
There's no housing that
that's what's happening.
I'm sorry, Jim. There's no apartments that an immigrant could possibly afford to live in this community. I mean, there's a handful of apartments available for Section 8, and those are poorly managed. And it's a really bad situation. There are still a lot of homeless people in Maine, living on the sides of the roads and under the underpasses. Not in our town because they'll arrest them. But
Yeah, no, I was
in Portland, the biggest city north of here, there's a huge homeless population, and it's very sad. They have refugees now staying in, where are they putting them now? In hotels.
Yeah. Hotels
Hotel
and
rooms.
yeah, and there's no, there are no houses. Nobody can afford a house up here. A lot of New Yorkers and people from Boston, they want to get out of town during COVID. They wanted a place to take their families, to get them away from the crowds. Just, just like the ancient Roman senators did when hey, I want to get out of Rome. Let's go to Herculaneum or Vesuvius or whatever the hell, Pompeii,
take
to
it
vacation. And so
yeah, go ahead.
There's nobody can afford anything here. They buy these houses up. They buy the old houses up,
right?
And then they flip them, and nobody can afford to live in them or buy them. And Burbank and Los Angeles, the same way. All these beautiful bungalows from the 1910s and the 20s and 30s.
Yes.
And our whole neighborhoods are bought up by investment companies and hedge funds. And they bulldoze the bungalows and build condos, ugly condos that nobody can fucking afford. $3,000 for a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment in these facilities. What's going to happen when the bubble happens? Nobody can afford anything. These are going to become blights, urban decay again.
Right. There's also right now speculators are in Maui. It's right. I seen that in the chat. There was a story about people being called to sell their property that just burnt down, and so trying to take advantage.
I think the governor is trying to so-called quote crack down on that, whatever that means. But let's see what happens.
A right-wing talking point or a Tucker point might be, well, if everybody's in B&Bs, that means they have extra spendable money. So isn't that good? More people are rich.
Oh, okay.
So they got more disposable
I don't
cash,
know who these
Jim.
people
That
are.
means the system's working, right?
Absolutely, for them. That's
them.
the whole point of it.
Right. In LA, too, the hotels that they put people up in COVID, I was reading, too, in the LA Times, something about $2.1 million worth of damage that they asking the government to give to a hotel so they could fix it.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that's about, but
the homeless are being displaced from the only places that they can really live.
Can't live in a van down by the river. It's too expensive.
And then put in little internment facilities for a certain amount of time, promised relief, medical care, and some kind of job opportunities, and which don't happen. So they're back on the street again. So they just shuffle them around. They sweep them around the room or the city like they're trash from one corner to the next, but they're still there.
I don't recall, and I think we've had this discussion a little bit before, I do not recall seeing as many homeless people as I do nowadays. Like what you were talking about, Martha. Yeah, I seen tents under the underpass when I was out at a drive-through. There's always somebody with a sign there. And
because our economies are
affordable. Yeah.
Right. Our economies
people that are
go ahead, Martha.
Go ahead, Jim. Thank you. People that are low income, that are making minimum wage, can't afford to rent an apartment. They're not making enough to pay their rent and to live. And the same thing with everybody that's on disability, and the same thing with everybody that's on Social Security. The average, I think probably the average Social Security check is $1,200. And how can you rent an apartment and live if your monthly income is $1,200? You can't even buy groceries. And you're expected to get on a list to get assistance for housing. Those lists are 8 or 10 years long before you come to the top of the list, before you get assistance to maybe get an apartment that's affordable. And those places there are wait lists for those. That's why there's no housing for poor people and retired people, or people that get sick, people that are struggling to pay for their prescriptions is another big thing, or struggling to pay for their medical bills or their dentists, or any of the number of the things that are wrong with this country, that we have a messed up system of health care, and people can't afford the basic necessities of life, and then we're expected to pay $2,000 or $3,000 a month for rent. This is just, it's ridiculous. But we need to send more money to Ukraine, and to billions and billions of dollars we're spending funding wars, proxy wars, continuing on in the great American tradition of and mistakes that we made in Afghanistan and Iraq, and we're continuing that, subsidizing Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, and they're getting the money, but people here are on the streets and they're dying. They don't have health care, they don't have food, and now they don't have housing. So it's our
economy is built on a house of cards. Our whole society is built on a house of cards, because it's based on capitalism, predatory capitalism. And even last year, Biden was celebrating. Last year, Biden was celebrating the what was it, 2 or 5% cost of living increase in Social Security checks. Because every year, Americans get a cost of living increase, a certain percentage.
Not every year, but last year. No,
only if Rayathon makes money that year, you get one.
There were several years that there haven't been one, and that was a recent one. And then when you get one, they're gonna cut your food stamps, because now you're making too much money.
Yeah. They count that as income, added income. So the cost of living increase.
I think they cut your Medicare too, though, don't they? If you make too much.
Yeah. And they'll cancel your public housing too. They'll go up on your rent if you're in public housing, because now you're making an extra $20 a month from your Social Security increase. And, we're going to cut your food stamps, and we're going to increase your rent. So go live under a bridge and die without health care, because this is America.
Wow.
On that note.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that most of what you said is true for Canada as well. We've got quite a few people who are buying houses and stuff. I wonder if one of the problems might be solved is corporations can only buy apartments or make apartments, and single people can only have, or single families have one house plus maybe a cottage or something like that. I'm not sure. That was kind of the way it was, right? At one time, one job, you could afford a new truck, afford a house, afford a cottage, take the kids to the lake. Those days seem to be gone.
My father was a college professor, small town college professor, and we could afford our own house, and we built our own house,
right,
on that salary.
Awesome.
And now it's just everything's bleak, ridiculous, predatory, exploitative, and sickening, and that could really generate a thirst. And I recommend Apple and Eve, 100% very berry. Comes in a little box.
Okay.
6.75 fluid ounces. Adam and Eve.
Well,
not Adam and Steve.
Yeah.
Adam and Eve.
If you got a tent, you could always put your home into a B&B and make some money in the summer, live in the tent. Yeah.
Good idea.
I'm 100% with you on your message on this, and it's a shame. However, the Rayathon money, I don't think would go to the greater good of the American people. It would, they would find some other way. I would love
They
if that
probably
was the
spend
thing.
it on lottery tickets, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's another thing. When you apply
Fireworks.
when you apply for food stamps, you
Right.
got to go through like 15 pages of questions and warnings. Well, but two of the warnings are you can not, it's a felony to trade your food stamps for fireworks, alcohol, and weapons.
No fireworks?
Like,
well, what about July 4th?
Who the hell is going to do that? Yeah.
You know, what
So
about July
freaking
4th?
insulting.
And if you don't have a firearm, you can't feed your family because you can't go shoot a moose. And the alcohol, that's antiseptic, right? So I think those are three staples of life right there. But you can buy smokes with stamps?
No, you can't.
You can
Oh,
only
no
buy,
tobacco. Okay.
You can't buy food that's already been cooked. Like if you wanted to cook chicken,
Like a
that's
Costco
off
chicken for
limits.
$10. Yeah.
Yeah, no way. Nope. Sorry about that. You've got to get it and cook it yourself.
But you know what you can get, Walter?
What can you get, Jim?
An Adam and Eve 100% very berry juice box. Get one today.
Is it unsweetened?
Oh, shut up.
Well, you don't want to get a Jim Earl because you ate sweetened juice.
90 calories.
That's pretty darn good. Let us, you know what? Thank you so much for your insight and everything. And I know we ran into overtime with you. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all.
Appreciate the conversation. We'll end with the Clutter family. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about it if you don't mind.
It's a little song about the environment. And I think there's some meat eating jabs in there.
Really?
It's kind of a lot of shouting and screaming in it. It's kind of loud. And I hope you enjoy it.
The world is a toilet, and everyone's an asshole. The world is a toilet, and everyone's an asshole. If you want to know more about me, just ask me. If you want to know, pour hot pasta in my pants and bake a roll. Stuff my cheeks with kidneys, melons, and fudge. Who are you to judge? Oh, the world is my toilet, and everyone's an asshole. The world is my toilet, and everyone's an asshole. Blow smoke in my face and drink your orange juice, and shit your way up to heaven. Oh, the world is a toilet, and everyone's an asshole. The world is a toilet, and everyone's an asshole. If you want to know more about me, just ask me. If you want to know, punch with pills like strain and soak up the blood. Belt, fuck, fart, cough, vomit, and piss in the mud. Who are you to judge? Oh, the world is a toilet, and everyone's an asshole. The world is a toilet, and everyone's an asshole. Asshole.
Definitely 90s vibes. A very good song. Who was your compadre? Who sang with you? Sorry, that's my dog.
Chris Hobbs.
Okay.
Friend of mine from comedy way back when. Actually, that was from 2010. 2010.
Okay. And do you guys still get together and perform or anything? Is the Clutter family still a thing?
Well, he's in Los Angeles. He's in Sacramento. I'm here in Maine. So we just communicate electronically.
Right.